Here we go in chapter 3, Treasure Hunt. I wonder what that has to do with what we've been reading about. Here we go, let's see. Wonderful things awaited Bluma in Erin's room. She fluttered about like a bee in a clover patch, touching the delights around her. There were games, coloring books, and cutout paper dolls. There were wooden animals, finger paints, and a glass jar brimming with sweets. She picked up a piece from a jigsaw puzzle on the floor and set it in place. This one goes here. As she picked up another, she remembered Faeline's words. Tooth collecting is not a time for play. I'd best get started on finding that tooth. She sprinkled a handful of fairy dust over the bed. All at once, her eyes watered, and she felt a tickle in her nose. Ah! Ah! Her hand flew to her face, and she pinched her nose until the feeling went away. Pesky allergy, she mumbled as she glanced around the cluttered room. Then a tingle of excitement rose in her belly. I wonder where Erin has hidden the tooth tonight. Erin loved to play games. The first time she lost a tooth, she laid a path of peanuts to lead Bluma to its hiding place. The next time, Bluma had to unroll a ball of yarn to reach the tooth tucked inside. She left behind a fuzzy string trail that ran through the bedroom, across the hall, and into the kitchen. The last tooth was the most fun of all. Erin had dropped it to the bottom of the goldfish bowl, and Bluma had to dive for it as if it were a sunken treasure. Ready for tonight's adventure, Bluma wiggled under the pillow and emerged with a gold ring. She clapped with delight. This clue is easy. She flew to the dresser and heaved open the lid of a velvet jewelry box. Well, this doesn't belong here, she said, untangling a bookmark from the web of necklaces and bracelets. It must be clue number 2. Bluma eyed the titles of the books stacked onto the bookshelf. Treehouse in a Storm, Miss Crump's Funny Bone, Don't Turn the Page. In the middle of the shelf sat a book with bold letters, Tooth Fairy Trap. A black shoelace dangled from between its pages. Another clue. Bluma tugged the lace until it slipped free. She studied the shoes scattered about the closet and shook her head. There's nothing unusual in here. Then she spied a pair of soccer cleats sticking out from beneath the bed. Only one of them had a shoelace. Aha! It matches the one Erin left in the book. Bluma started to weave the lace onto the shoe until she had an idea. Maybe I could use this to help me climb into Bradley's trap. I'm sure Erin won't mind if I borrow it for the night. She stuffed the lace into her tooth bag and hopped inside the shoe. What's this? Hidden near the toes, she found a miniature teacup and saucer. Of course! Her pulse raced as she scrambled from the shoe and flew to the dollhouse. A tiny doll family sat around the dining room table set with fine china on a lacy tablecloth. Good evening, Bluma greeted politely as she took the empty chair. Is it time for tea? She lifted the lid off a silver teapot. Erin's pearly tooth sparkled inside. Ta-da! Bluma held up the tooth like a trophy. We'll celebrate with dessert. She peeked inside a covered dish. A chocolate chip, my favorite. Would everyone like a piece? As she served the boy doll a slice, the sly grin painted on his face reminded her of Bradley. Her tummy flipped. I bet you could tell me how to deal with a tricky boy like Bradley. The doll stared blankly across the table. Bluma shrugged and licked the chocolate from her fingers. She bid goodbye to her hosts, returned briefly to Erin's bed, and flitted away to the next house. A shiny coin lay nestled under the pillow, and on Erin's cheek was a smudge of chocolate, left by a fairy's kiss. That's the end of chapter 3, The Treasure Hunt. I was just thinking of how fun it sounds to follow all of those clues to get to something special at the end. I'm wondering how Bluma is going to use that shoelace in Bradley's room. What are you thinking about? What are you wondering about? Do you have any great predictions?